Hello everyone, I'm Charles from the Customer Success team at AgencyAnalytics, and welcome to our webinar on lead gen reports. We're going to get started very soon as we wait a few more moments for others to join in. Also, we'll be emailing a recording of the webinar once we've wrapped things up, so stay tuned as we'll kick things off in just a minute. Hello everyone, if you're just joining in, my name is Charles and I'm here with my colleagues Francis and Jordan, and welcome to our lead gen webinar. Our team is working on educational content to help agencies get the most out of their campaigns, so if there's ever a topic you'd like us to cover in an upcoming webinar, then you're always welcome to reach out to the team and let us know. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage viewers to check us out on social media. This is where you can stay up to date with more content, marketing tips, and overall advice on how to optimize your agency's reporting capabilities. This webinar will also be uploaded to our YouTube page where you can check out our other past webinars as well. Today, we're going to discuss lead gen reports and how marketing professionals can leverage them in agency analytics. We're going to focus on why they're a valuable asset in any agency's toolkit and how they can be optimized for attracting new clients. We'll also discuss some best practices and tips we've learned from other agency analytics customers just before our QA segment. If any questions come up during the webinar, then feel free to let us know in the chat. We'll be happy to answer all of your questions once we've covered everything. So to get started, I'm going to first clarify what a lead gen report is and why you might want to use it. Essentially, a lead gen report is a sales pitch to a prospective client you'd like to bring on. It's a chance for you to illustrate to a client that your company is the perfect fit for them. A well-planned lead gen report allows agencies to show their value early on. They also allow agencies to clearly communicate expectations on details such as what the client can expect from you and when they should expect it. You might be asking what is included in a lead gen report. Well, first and foremost, your lead gen report should have an introduction and summary. This is where you present your team and share insights about your agency. Showing recognition such as industry awards or interviews can be a great way to establish credibility. You may also want to show things that differentiates your agency from the competition. The introduction should be brief, as ultimately the client wants to know more about how your agency will help grow their business. You might also want to consider adding SEO insights. The SEO insights section contains the bulk of the personalization to your report and likely where you'll spend the most time. Here, you'll want to show that you've done your research by sharing the specific insights you've gathered about their SEO performance. This can build trust and credibility as it shows you've taken the time to understand their business, research their goals, and problems. Some key SEO insights you'll want to share are the client's current keyword rankings, an audit of their website, and any backlinks. You'll also want to outline what tasks and projects you'll be doing as part of their SEO campaign. You'll want to outline your key services and deliverables so the client knows what to expect from you. These should be specific and quantifiable. For example, if you're creating new content for their website, outline how many pages or blog posts they should expect each and every single month. Also outline what kind of SEO reporting they'll receive from you. Make sure to outline any goals and timelines set by your agency. Set achievable goals based on your agency's capabilities and the client's overall online traffic prior to sending the report. Don't make any promises your team cannot deliver. Also include a timeline in your proposal so the client knows when they can expect to see results. Some clients can expect a lot of work upfront immediately, so setting realistic timelines will save everyone a lot of headache down the road. Most importantly, outline the pricing of your services and the next steps. Not everyone is comfortable talking about money, so you may want to pitch this as an investment, as your SEO services will help grow their business and generate more revenue. Outline any pricing options or packages if you can, and end your lead gen report with a strong call to action that lets clients know the next steps to get started. Make sure to include your contact information here. This is one of the most important sections of your lead gen report that is too often forgotten. So as you can see, a lead gen report allows agencies to communicate expectations, as it outlines everything the client needs to know about working with your agency. It also strengthens your sales approach, as it sets a professional standard from the very beginning, and at that point, your agency is viewed as more credible in the client's eyes. Lastly, it ultimately grows your clientele, as lead gen reports are one of the many tools in the marketer's skill set that are used to scale your agency, and it helps you to create an efficient and effective client onboarding process. So now I'm going to pass the mic over to my colleague Francis, who will cover how you can effectively use lead gen report templates in AgencyAnalytics. Then you'll hear from our product manager, Jordan Snyder, with additional tips for agencies to keep in mind when prospecting new clients.
Thanks, Charles. So as mentioned, I'm going to take some time and show you guys how you can use AgencyAnalytics to create lead gen proposals, how to scale that process by using templates, how to personalize those templates, as well as the workflow to generate proposals using those said templates, populate them with a prospect's data, and deliver them to the relevant decision maker or contact. So first off, how are proposals built inside AgencyAnalytics? Simply put, we use our report editor tool and repurpose our reports into proposals. So if you're already familiar with using the report editor, you'll be able to leverage that knowledge to build beautiful proposals in no time. Since we're all about ease of use, however, our team has built a base template that can be used for lead gen proposals right away. However, you can also customize this template, and I'll show you how in a moment, or even build your own from scratch. Now, by using templates, you'll be able to scale this process and quickly fire off proposals to multiple clients without having to create a proposal from scratch each time. So let's start by building a template of our own using the base template AgencyAnalytics provides. To do this, we'll head to the template section. And under the reports area, on the reports template, we'll select create template right here at the top right. Here, we'll select start from a template. But again, you could build one of these from scratch if you wish to. So let's start from a template, and let's select the pre-built lead gen template right here from the list. Hit continue, and then we'll have to name it. So just for the purpose of this demo, I'll just name it my lead gen template and hit continue again. Now this will take us to the template editor, which is really our report editor from which we can customize this template. In this case, we have a cover page to start, which will include the client's name automatically when you apply this template to a prospect's campaign, as well as your company logo as set in your white label settings. Next, we have a table of contents right here, which, by the way, you can remove if you so desire, like any other page, really, by clicking the little bin icon right here. The first customizable area of the proposal template is going to be this proposal summary section. So this is really an intro to your company. And as Charles mentioned, this is where you want to establish who you are, what you do, and build credibility. In this template, we've also included some analysis from key insights, which will also go into more detail over the next few pages. For this page, by the way, we use a simple text box widget. So you can edit this by clicking the edit button at the top right, not to be confused with the kind of settings button from what you would find on other widgets. So if I click edit here, you'll see this turns into a standard text editor. So from here, you can change this and customize the blank spaces. However, Because this is a template, I would recommend leaving those blank because we'll be applying that template to individual proposals, and you'll really want to edit these blank spaces and let's say these different points or different insights in each individual proposal that you'll be sending out. Also, these do support inserting images. So if you want to customize this, change the script or the order of things, you can totally do so. You could also split this into multiple text boxes, or really if you want to add text boxes to anywhere else in this proposal, you can find these under the add item, add a widget, under miscellaneous right here, and then text box. So this will add kind of a blank text box that you can edit like this. Next comes the different insights pages. So this is where the bulk of the personalization is done and where you can really leverage AgencyAnalytics' set of SEO tools to really gather crucial data on the prospect's SEO performance and use that data to highlight gaps and areas where your services can provide improvements and ultimately value. The first insight section in this case is a site audit using our site auditor tool. Here we've used our standard tests page. So if you were to build this template on your own, you can actually add this as a section, go under SEO, site auditor. In this case, this is the tests page. The full audit would actually provide one page for each 40-something tests, so might not want to use that in your proposals, but you can add this site audit overview right here. And as you can see, it's basically the same page, except we've added a text box in which you would obviously want to customize and add some analysis based on this data that's generated. So again, as I mentioned, you can easily add text boxes to these. So I just add one here. In this case, it'll add at the bottom of the page, but I can just grab this, bring it up top, and kind of recreate the same thing. Obviously, all these pre-built pages, whether you add them or whether they're the ones that are already present in our template, can be customized in any way. So if there's anything you don't want to include in here, it's very easy to customize the template and change it around to fit your needs or what you want to present to the different clients. The next page that we have is the keywords ranking section. So again, this one uses the AgencyAnalytics rank tracker. And this page is a bit more customized than the one you would find as a default in the ad section area. So if I go to SEO and rankings and I add this, you'll notice that the layout is a little bit different than here, but again, you could easily replicate this. So if you wanted to add, let's say, a pie chart like this of the Google rankings, you could simply, again, add a widget manually, head to the SEO section, rankings, find the pie charts right here, and let's say Google rankings, for example. You can choose data range. In this case, the one that we add was by rank range. So you can see the ranges here. And so it looked a little bit something like this on this page here. So very easy to customize, as you can see, and turn this into your own. Now, in the next two sections, we have pages covering the different backlinks. So here we use our Majestic integration, which is provided free of charge with all of our plans. And again, these are pre-built pages with an added text box. You can easily find these under the ad section. Again, we'll go to SEO, Majestic, and I think in this case we've added a summary page as well as a full list of the backlinks. So again, obviously you want to customize this and change it around to what's relevant to your agency's services, to what you want to provide, right? Finally, we have a next steps area. And this is where you'll want to offer final conclusions, pricing, maybe a selection of plans, as well as a strong call to action. Now, of course, this is our own default template. So the order and the type of content can really vary, as I just said, based on your services. For example, if you had access to a client's data for any of our other integrated platforms, you could definitely include these. You can also add different widgets to make really fancy proposals. So for example, you could add the embed widget And then you can start inserting, custom content. So for example, it could be the client's website, or let's use actually as an example, like a promotional video here. Let's use this one from Impressive Digital, which is actually one of our users. So I could add like a URL and insert a nice YouTube video as a promotional video, or maybe you could add testimonials from existing clients. So there's really a lot of ways that you can use the different widgets we offer and customization to make some very fancy proposals. Now, let me just remove this so we don't add it to our other proposals. But once you're done editing the template, you'll simply want to hit save and exit. And you can also, of course, always come back and re-edit the template. So if you want to make any changes to it, just head back to this templates area under reports. And if you click on it, you'll be right back into the editor. So you can make changes here for the template itself. So now that we've covered how to edit the template and build your own, let's actually put it to use and go through the workflow of prospecting using it. Now, to prospect using Agency Analytics, you'll want to create a new campaign for each potential client. So for this, we'll want to head to our account overview and our campaign section right here and hit create campaign. Now, I want to use a real life example for this. So we'll use my favorite shawarma place in Toronto, Shawarma Frenzy. So let me just enter their name here. And then I'll go and copy their website address and hit create. Now the campaign's created, we'll need to enable our SEO tools to generate the data for the insights. So first, let's enable the rankings. So we can find these under SEO and rankings. Let's hit enable. And we'll have to add some keywords. We do provide some suggestions, and you can leverage other tools as well. So we do have some suggestions here, or you could leverage, let's say, SEMrush's keyword research tool to provide this. But of course, if you're familiar with their niche or their industry, you'll generally know what keywords you want to see and see how they rank for. So make sure as well, let's just add this, for example, and make sure as well on the second step you choose a location that's relevant. So in this case, these guys are located in East York and Toronto. Hit continue. Here you could change the language if you wanted to. You could also tag the keywords, but we won't bother with that today. So here now we have the keywords, and then they'll check, in this case for Google or Bing. You can also, of course, decide to track Google Local, Google Mobile by enabling these different metrics from the settings slider. Next, we'll go back to our integration section. Again, we'll go to SEO and we will enable our site auditor right here so we can run an audit. So let's enable it and let's hit run audit. Now here we can set some settings. In this case, I don't want to specify any limits or subdomains or exclude any paths since I don't have any information about that client's site. And I also don't want to set a schedule. I don't need to run this monthly. We want to run this as a one-off, so we'll disable the scheduling. And then we'll just hit start crawl. Finally, we'll want to generate some backlinks data. So we'll go and enable Majestic as well. So again, same thing under SEO. You can find it right here. And as I said, this is provided with all of our plans. So you can simply hit enable and you'll now see the Majestic information. And these will all be visible in their respective sections. Now, all this data might take a few minutes to populate. The Majestic data, the rankings will take a few minutes, and the site auditor, depending on the size of the website, could take a few minutes up to a few hours for some very large sites. So I went ahead and cheated a little bit and created the same campaign earlier. So we already have some information and some rankings. So this is what it would look like once it's done populating. Unfortunately, for my favorite shawarma place, they do not rank very well. But yeah, we have all the information. So now that we've got that, we can basically create a lead gen proposal for them. So to do this, we'll head to reports and we'll create a new report right here. Now, this is where the templating that we did earlier really comes in handy. So instead of having to recreate a proposal every time, we can simply start from a template. Let's find the my lead gen template we created, hit continue, name it. So let's say shawarma frenzy proposal, hit continue. And now that that is done, it'll generate an actual proposal. And you will see if we switch to live data that we now have the Shawarma Frenzy website score with their real data. We'll have their keyword ranking. So only one of their keywords was ranking on Google, and it did rank 1 to 3rd, and none on Bing. You can see that data in here as well as their backlinks, which they're not doing great on either in this case. So of course, from here on out, you'll want to edit the text boxes. So if we go back all the way up top, right here, we would want to change this to Dear Shawarma Frenzy. Obviously use the data that we've gathered in here to say, hey, look, there's 11 errors on your website, or, you're not ranking very well for related keywords in your area. And of course, provide that insight in those different text boxes. So now that that's done and we've edited our text boxes, obviously we'll want to send this data to the client. We'll want to send this proposal. So for this, simply hit save and exit to save the proposal we created and would have customized in a real life use case. And then we can choose different formats. So you'll want to click the little share button right here. And you can send the proposal either as a PDF, actually would download, and then you would have to manually send it. You can use our platform to automatically send an email, which has some advantages, as well as create a shareable link. The advantages I mentioned about creating the email is that you'll be able to see if the person you emailed to has actually opened the email, if they've clicked to view the proposal. So the tool here, if you were to generate one, would allow you to see that. And actually, let's just go through the process. So let's do a PDF first. And one thing I do want to mention, because this uses the report editor, it will prompt you to choose a date range. Make sure that you select the current day. So it doesn't matter really if it's like last 30 days. Personally, what I would do is simply select the day where the data was generated. So keep that in mind. If I had ran the rankings yesterday and then I'm sending the proposal today, you might want to just select the 9th instead. In this case, we just created those today. So we'll select that here and hit download, and that will generate a PDF, which will be ready to download pretty soon. You'll see it down here. You'll also be able to download it from here once it's ready. While that generates, let me show you what the emails would look like. So if I do send now, again, we'll have the same date range selection. So I'm just going to select today, since that's where the data is from. We'll enter in an email address, and just to show the process, we'll use my address. So we'll pretend that I am the owner. There we go. Of course, you can customize the subject and the message that you want to send in the email, and then simply hit send. And as you can see here, the date that is going to be sent will appear as soon as it's actually done sending by the system. And then if I go in and open that email and click the report, we'll see this update here. Meanwhile, the PDF is done downloading. So if we want to take a look at what that would look like, I'm going to just download it really quick. And now you can see what that proposal would look like. Again, I didn't customize the section here, but you can see that all the information is automatically filled in by our different SEO tools. So that's pretty much how you would send those reports, how you would fill in all that data. As you can see, once you've got your template, it makes it really easy to fire off multiple proposals. Simply create, a few campaigns, generate the data, and then just fire off different proposals using the template. If you guys have any questions about what I just went through, as Charles mentioned at the beginning, we'll have a Q&A at the end. We'll be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. But for now, I'll pass the floor back to my colleague, Jordan.
Thanks, Francis. Okay, friends, I'm going to walk us through some tips that will make sure that the proposals that you are sending out the door are the best that they can possibly be. So number one, use that overview page and start strong. Call out any key insights like issues or opportunities that you found. Make sure that your intro is very strong. You want it to engage and attract or hook them on what they're reading. Very clearly define their problems, show that you've been listening, and follow that up immediately by outlining your solutions to those problems. Alignment is key, so make sure you do it early. Outline things like scope, key tasks, milestones, anything like that. And of course, explain next steps. Make sure that they know the journey that they're on and where you're going to be taking them. Now, personalization is a great way to make sure that our proposals are more engaging. About 80% of consumers are more likely to make a purchase when brands offer a personalized experience, and I think that part of that definitely plays into the proposals that we send out the door. So make sure that you are using their data. Use their data as evidence to your assertions, what your gaps that you found, and ultimately where you want to take them. Personalize it with people and places. Don't be afraid to throw the people, the title, the company name, or even the decision makers into that. They're going to love that. And repeat what you know. You've likely had several meetings with your client throughout the life cycle to get them to where they're at today, which is reading the proposal. So rehash some past conversations and make sure that you show them that you were listening. Next is use your data to tell their stories. Your client may have given you access to some of their platforms at this point in time. So if you have that, use that data. Make sure that you show your clients the tools that they know and love. Put the emphasis on what they're thinking about and what they're focusing on, and that'll resonate with them a little bit more. If you're doing things like gap analysis, then make sure that you use that as well. You can demonstrate those gaps that you found through competitor analysis or through any of those different kinds of tools that we have in our product. And then, of course, tell their story. These proposals at the end of the day should be about our leads, our clients, and not necessarily ourselves as much. So use the data that you've got and create an awesome story with it. Don't be afraid to go back in time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, show them where they've been, show them where they're at today, and of course, get them excited for where you want to take them. Don't be afraid to get creative. Nobody necessarily wants to read a really long, growing proposal. Our tools for proposals and reporting have lots of creative assets that you can use, such as videos. You can consider adding, a video intro of yourself in, your brand video if you want them to learn a little bit about you, or of course, just like a video for next steps. You can implement something simply like an iframe and get almost any website you want into your proposal. So you can get interactive, give them stuff that they can look at, or perhaps just put their own website right in that view so they don't even have to leave. Websites and iframes are a great way to link out to additional information without necessarily having them navigate away from your proposal. And of course, if you've got a client that's perhaps a little bit older school, you might be able to leverage some of their offline data that might be stored in Google Sheets. AgencyAnalytics has a great Google Sheets integration, and so you can bring in those tables, individual metrics, or of course, visualize the data that they have, and potentially that being something that they've never seen before. Use custom metrics. So we recently released an awesome, exciting new feature called Custom Metrics. That enables our users on our enterprise plans to create a formula of metrics that combine different platforms to create something truly bespoke for our users. And you can imagine that you can get really creative with this. If you're essentially taking any formulas and putting them through to integrations, you could create custom metrics and put them right on that overview page that gets them really excited. Some examples on my screen here could be expected leads. You could connect a Google Analytics source for their website traffic, divide that by their conversion rate, and let them know how many leads you think it might get them. Similarly with leads, you could take some of their ad budgets or their cost per acquisition from some of their ad platforms like Amazon ads, Bing, or Google ads, and let them know what you might expect for a lead goal or a lead funnel. And then finally, you might get really fun and give them something that they've never seen before. Like example, if you wanted to show them their overall impressions across all social networks, such as a social presence, you could add up impressions from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and give them something really cool, something that might wow them, something that they might not have seen before. And of course, you want to be able to track the activity and re-engage your users. So our reporting tools provide our users the ability to both share these proposals in a lot of different ways, but of course, to be able to track that there as well. So some of our users, well, everybody really, communicates differently and prefers different channels. So you want to make sure that you're sharing it the way that they care. So you can send these proposals as emails, as shareable links, and really get it into their hands however they prefer. Then, of course, once they've got that proposal, you want to track opens, clicks, and downloads. If you notice that somebody's opened it up today, you might want to reach out to them, or, God forbid they haven't opened it. That might be a good sense of time to re-engage them. Awesome. And hopefully you guys all found those tips super helpful. I'm going to go ahead and pack it over to Charles to keep us going.
This concludes our presentation on how agencies can win more clients with Agency Analytics by leveraging lead gen reports. We're going to move over to the Q&A segment now, where we will review any questions you have, so feel free to share them in the chat.
All right. So we'll go through the few of the questions. Some of these were already answered in the chat as we went, but some weren't. By the way, thank you, Christina. I was basically did our work for us there. So actually, one thing quickly, if anybody missed it, since Derek was asking about that, basically to apply the template. Share my screen. So basically, to apply one, what you would do in that case, you would go to your campaign, go to the report section, and then you would hit create a new report at the top right, and then you're able to choose the template from here. So you'll see our default lead gen template, and then if you had built your own, actually built it in this demo account, so it's still here. So that's the one I created when I did the demo. So yeah, that's how you would apply it. Let's see. Other questions. So Jules' question was answered. In terms of accessing the Google Analytics, yes, Lisa's question. So not to generate the rankings, the site audit, or the backlinks information. However, if you do want to use stuff like the custom metrics like Jordan was talking about, you will indeed need to have access to their the Google Analytics. Same thing, actually, somebody mentioned as well, adding GMB information, stuff like insights, like searches, clicks, calls. Those will require access to their GMB insights, so you will have to connect either with their credentials, or they'll have to give your agency account access to their GMB. If there was any other question, I'm trying to go through. There was quite a bit of chat. If there's anybody whose question actually hasn't been answered, that asked earlier and that we might have missed, feel free to type it again in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer that. I see Shira actually had a question about sending the proposal through Google Analytics. So the proposal, when you send it via email, it's going to be sent from Agency Analytics. So depending on how your account is set up, if you have a custom email set, then it would send using that email. If you don't, it'll use the default Agency Analytics one. So, do not see the template anywhere. Can you give me directions again? So Lisa, if you want to access the template, there's two places where you can find it. So if you want to edit it and turn it into your own, like I was showing in the video, from your main account screen, just have my window open. Yes, I do. Just share my screen again. There we go. So yeah, you can find it either at the templates level. So if you go here and you want to create a template, so basically to modify it, like I was showing, to kind of customize it to your own. If you start from a template, you should see it in the list under lead gen template. And same thing if you're creating a new report. The one issue is make sure you're not looking at the dashboards templates, or for example, I think these all have a dashboard already, but if I go to any of these and I don't have a dashboard, there'll be a first time setup pop-up you guys might be familiar with. And that will also let you choose a template, but that would be dashboard templates. So the lead gen proposal template is a report template. So that's a little difference. You got to make sure that, that you're looking specifically at reports for that. One thing also I did, I took a note of, somebody mentioned site speed, and I think that was answered in chat, but just to confirm, so we do have individual load time page in our site auditor. But if you want more of a global site speed score, Google Lighthouse is integrated. So you could, without having access to a client site, actually that's another set of data points you can generate without connecting their accounts, would be to use Google Lighthouse, and they do have a speed test. Piwik and Matomo. Let me see. I think Matomo, we do have a request for Piwik. I would have to check. I'm not sure if there is currently. If you guys want to look at that, actually, I might as well plug that in so everybody's familiar with it. But with from inside Agency Analytics, if you click on the little question mark up here and you hit request a feature, it'll take you to our kind of feature request system. It has a bit of a roadmap on there, and you can basically look up different tools and see if there's a request to integrate them and upvote existing requests or create a new one. So you can see in there, I'm pretty sure Matomo, there is already one because I've heard that one a few times. I'm not sure about Piwik though. Question I have is, will the client be able to reply if I sent a report through the platform? So if you send it through a platform, if you have it set, actually, it's a good question. I don't know, Charles or Jordan, if you have an answer. I know that obviously if you use a custom email and they reply, the client will, or you will get the email in that box. If they reply to the kind of default one, I'm not 100% sure. Charles, do you?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. That might be something we'd have to test internally to get a clear idea, but definitely something we can try out and let everyone know.
Yeah, we can find out and follow up. That's for sure. I know somebody knows the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Not off the top of my head. I would assume that it's probably sent to one of the emails on the account, but yeah, just to double check and confirm, we'll check, and I'll send you an email to follow up. I don't think there was any other questions. I did take a note of your suggestion, Derek, by the way, about choosing weekdays only. So yeah, we'll give you guys a couple, maybe a minute or two more just to see if there's any more questions coming up. See some people typing. Yeah, for the webinars we do, I think at this point we run almost one a month. They're not always necessarily on the same kind of angle of more in-platform. Sometimes it's a little bit more, industry related. But yeah, if you should get emails whenever we do host one. We usually try to reach out, let people know. Also, Charles mentioned this early at the beginning, but if you do follow us on our social networks, you'll be able to be notified whenever something like this happens again.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to share like any webinar recommendations or suggestions. If it's anything you'd like to see within the platform, or if you're curious if anything is able to be done with our tools, then feel free to let us know. Either if you have a call with the customer success team, you can mention it in passing, or you can always leave your suggestion with the support team on chat, and that'll go straight to us as well. And we take all of that and come up with our future plans for what we kind of focus on for these webinars, because we really want them to be focused on what our customers like yourselves really want to learn about. Otherwise, there's not much value being given there. So we really want to share what you want to see.
I like this one as an organic and paid social media audit. Well, for that case, however, you would need to have access to their accounts, at least from our end. The way we pull data from social networks is through kind of the insights provided through the different APIs. So it would pretty much be possible already to create some sort of an audit like that based on whichever data points you want to use for it. You could probably already build one of those. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, but that might be an interesting topic for the future.
Yeah, that's a really interesting topic, Linda. I'll definitely write that down and keep it in our list of upcoming webinars, because we're getting ready to work on the next ones. And we definitely share the same thoughts about Facebook and their regular updates. So we definitely
need a webinar too.
Yeah, we would like a webinar on that as well. For existing clients. Yeah, if you already have access to their accounts, then something like this, I feel like for the purpose of lead gen, you might already be past that point. But if you wanted to include this in like a lead gen report for a client you want to bring on, then if there were a way you could automate that data into Agency Analytics through a Google Sheet, then you most definitely could just include that as an additional section in the template. Otherwise, as Francis mentioned before, you do need the client access for those accounts, given that we have to access their APIs to pull in all of that data on our end.
Yeah, and for existing clients, if you do want to do, obviously, it's not named an audit, but we do have some templates as well, like social media templates, that do kind of a breakdown of standard metrics. And in the same way I modified in the presentation, the same way I modified the lead gen template, you could take our one of our social templates and modify it to whatever you want to include in such an audit.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out our social media templates. We do have some that focus on specific platforms like Facebook or Twitter, but you could essentially set up a template that kind of has all of the data that you want within it, and then you can reference the miscellaneous drop-down menu we have when you're adding new widgets to that report. And that's where you can kind of scatter little tools like title bars and text widgets, sort of like we've done in this proposal template. And then you can kind of add your own notes there. You can share like any goals that they're reaching, if any posts have performed really well. Utilizing the text widget throughout the actual report itself can really help you to control the narrative of the report, especially when you hand it to your client, because they're not always the most tech savvy, and that really just helps connect the dots for them.
Actually, I see a new question just came in through the questions area. So it says, I would love to see a data analysis report for the custom date range. Is that something you offer? So yeah, if you have access to the data, so if you're able to connect to the different platforms you want to pull from, the majority of platforms allow us to go backwards for historical data. There are some exceptions to this, specific metrics, for example, under Twitter and Instagram, there's a few metrics where they don't provide historical data. But in general, I'd say 90-95% of integrations provide it. So you can, when you're generating a report, you would basically design a report, you would generate that report, and when you generate it, it'll ask you what dates you want to plug in the data for in that report. So you're able to choose basically any custom date range. Actually, Lisa, that's a really good idea. That would probably be, even though it's kind of off the tool, we could probably give it some examples. I know that actually, if you go to our YouTube page, we did a Google Sheets webinar a little while back, and Matt, our VP of Customer Success, did a kind of showed how he used Zapier to automate putting stuff into a Google Sheet. And then had that Google Sheet connected to one of our dashboards. So it's not like full in depth on how to use it, because obviously we weren't going to tutorial like a different platform, but it's a pretty good example, and yeah, it might be a good topic for the future as well.
Yeah, definitely one worth considering, especially how consistently Facebook makes updates. I can see it being really useful for Facebook ads as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was going to say that we might want to look at maybe they'll start providing
cross collaboration, perhaps.
Some native agency analytics integrations into Zapier.
Yeah,
would be nice.
We'll definitely share that with the marketing team, because they're on the lookout for partnerships right now for the webinar. So if there's ever any platforms you'd like to see us collaborate with, then feel free to let us know.
Jordan's probably taking notes right now. He's
Yeah.
in here but muted. Awesome.
And thank you to everyone for being patient.
All right, so let's see. I don't know if there's any more questions before we go. Integrate. Never heard of that one. I'll take a look at it for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, it looks like we went through all the questions, and again, if you have any more questions that we didn't answer, feel free to reach out. Our support chat's available 24 hours a day, Monday to Friday. So definitely give us a shout if you have any questions about anything we covered, or really anything else on the platform. We're always happy to help. Charles, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, so far, just want to say thanks for everyone for joining with us and sharing your questions. A lot of great material was covered here that's going to be beneficial for everyone else that checks out this later. But if you ever want to, again, see anything covered by our team again in the future, then feel free to let us know. We're always on the lookout for new webinar topics. So we'd be happy to kind of accommodate everyone and come out with great educational material for everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you
and
so much.
Thank you guys from myself as well. And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, everyone. Have a good day.